you chose how many. It's always good when you make your own cookies, right? So that way you, because you can make cookies without calories if you make them yourself, right? I know next week my daughter and I, we've always wanted to make like the fancy Christmas cookies with the like glaze on it, like the glaze. So that we're going to try that next week. That's our goal for the week. Not do schoolwork. Okay. So let's get it so you guys don't have to do as much schoolwork over the break. Let's see if we can get you guys a good grade on this quiz. Okay. So we're looking at this graph. So help me out in the chat. Tell me, what is the vertex of this graph? Okay. So the work that I would write down for this would be the vertex, basically. So, because I know Mrs. Ballard's picky, she wants work on the test, right? So tell me in the chat, what do you think the vertex is? And that'll help me make sure you understand too. Good morning, Yuya. I see you came in. Okay, so Annalisa is saying 2, -3. Okay. Do we have anybody else have a vertex? -3, 2. Okay. All right, so if anybody else has it, I'm going to give you 30 more seconds to put your version of it because we've got a disagreement now. Okay, Brian's saying -3, 2. Okay, so remember, in this room, there is no judgment on any answers we put in the chat. It helps me help you do better, okay? So remember, when we're doing vertex, whether it's a parabola, whether it's a cubic, eventually we get to cubics, whether it's a absolute value, whatever it is, the x value is always with the x, and we always change the sign. So everybody changed the -3 appropriately. We just need to make sure it's in the x spot, not the y spot. And the y value is there. So we know how we have to take, and we're going to pick this parabola up literally, and we're going to move it -3. So 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to go up to 1, 2. That's where the vertex point should be. Good morning, Gavin. We're working on just reviewing the old quiz. That's our goal for the day. Now, this piece here, our shortcut is we're going to count that as the slope. So you're going to have to take this little dot and you're going to have to drag it back and forth to get the slope right. Okay. And I had a lot of you who got it wrong. It was you shifted it the wrong way, or you didn't drag your dot appropriately. And some of you, I remember that the dot was just off. Okay. So, and that's probably, if you got like a 35 out of 50, if you look at the points, that's probably what's going on, is your dot was off. So you want to double check that. So I'm going to count up 1, 2, and over 1, 2, 3 from this vertex point. And then I want to do that in the other direction too. Up 1, 2, and over 1, 2, 3. And there's my vertex, or there's my absolute value. That's what it should look like. If you go into the test and you look at the answer key, it's totally wrong. I hand graded this one. So don't look at the answer that's in there. You're going to have to go back in and kind of figure out what you did wrong. Okay. All right. Let's try another one just like that. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to try to graph that one. So it has the same slope, but see if you can graph this one. Sketch it on whatever piece of paper. It doesn't have to be super fancy. It can be a sloppy graph. So I'll give you about 40 seconds to sketch it. So sketch right now. Okay, tell me in the chat. Let's see if we've got this. And I need everybody to try to answer this because it's helping me assess where we're at. What did you get for your vertex on this one? All right, good. I'm liking what I'm seeing so far. Good job, you guys. Okay, so my vertex, so I'm going to try to plot that. -4, 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and up 1. And then we're counting that same slope. Why are your cookies on your keyboard? That gets crumbs in your computer. All right. The only cookies we want in our computer are the ones that come from the websites, right? All right, so we're going to go up 2 over 3, up 2 over 3. There we go. Okay, so hopefully we can do better on that one. One more question on that before we move on from that. How would happen? What would be different if I made that negative out in front? Tell me in the chat. How does that make it different? I'm going to give it about 30 more seconds to see if we have some agreement on that. Good. It's going to flip upside down, right? So I'm going to draw the flipped upside down because you don't know what I'm going to do on the test. I might do it right side up. I might do it upside down, and you have to know both. Okay. So if I use that same one and it flipped upside down, I'd be at the same vertex point, and I would count down 2 over 3, down 2 over 3, and there would be my graph. Okay. All right. Let's go back to problem number. I think it was problem number 3, but item 3. Okay. The biggest mistake that we made on the next 3 problems is we forgot to split it. Okay. So that was the biggest thing, is you get one answer and there's supposed to be 2 answers. All right. So you need to make sure you're taking that time and splitting it on these. Remember, during the test, you are allowed to have notes out. Okay, so you take advantage of the fact that you could have a sample problem sitting next to you during the test while you're taking it to remind you. It could even be these sample problems. Okay. All right. We won't be having that when we go back to the classroom. No notes during the test when we go back in. Okay. So notes are okay. Searching the internet is not. Okay. All right. Well, then write them down right now. Okay. Watching the YouTube video while you're taking the test of me doing this is not okay. But looking at your handwritten notes, that's an okay thing. Okay. You've got to write them down all the way. Okay. So I'm going to start this by subtracting the 4. So before I do the absolute value split, I have to get everything off the absolute value. You got to think of these like castle walls, and we have to get everything off the castle walls before we can invade the castle walls. All right. So we've got -2 absolute value of x minus 6 equals -24. I am going to divide by -2. I'm not going to distribute in. Okay, you cannot invade the castle walls. These are stronger than like a parentheses, so you can't go in there. Okay, so we've got absolute value of x minus 6 equals double negative is going to go positive. All right, so here's this spot. A lot of you got to that part. A lot of you got one answer. Or some of you, so now you have to split it into a positive expression and a negative expression. Okay, you got to think about these when you're doing the test. You got to think about, remember that really annoying thing that Mrs. Ballard said. Okay, that's what you got to think about on these. And I purposely do it on the expression side and not on the right side. I know teachers teach it differently. This is the way I do it because of the inequalities that come next. All right, we're going to add 6. We get x equals 18. And then we're going to distribute this negative. So -x plus 6 equals 12. I'm going to subtract the 6, so 6, and I'm going to divide by -1. So x equals -6. When you type your answer in, just type in 18, -6. Okay, some of you got one or the other, you didn't get both. Some of you did the split on just the equality, and then when you got down to the inequalities, didn't split. And I don't understand what the disconnect was. So, but just know that every time you were solving for absolute value, you split it into a positive expression and a negative expression. All right, I'm going to give you one. I want you to try it on your own. Okay, so everybody's going to try this one right here. So take a minute and try it. Write it down. All right, I want you, I did a little bit of it. I didn't do all of it, but I did a little bit. Tell me what you got for your answers. Put it in the chat for me. Let's see where we're at. Apparently we're not done yet. Okay, Logan's saying 0 and 6. Let's see if we've got some agreement there. Okay, Annalisa says 0 and 6. Good. Give everybody else about 40 seconds here. Tell me what you got. All right, so we're going to check the 0s and 6s. I'm hoping everybody else got there. Okay, so at this point, we split it into a positive expression and a negative expression. So I'm going to add the 3, so that gives me the x equals 6. I'm going to distribute the negative, so negative x plus 3 equals 3. I got to subtract the 3, so negative x equals 0. Divide by the negative, it equals 0. And then remember, when we go to type this, it already says x equals, so you do not need to type that part. You're just going to type 0, 6, or 6, comma 0. Okay, and you should get, excuse me, the right answer. All right, let's take a look at the inequalities now. So we have absolute value of x plus 1 less than 5. So tell me, is that an and? Or is it an or? Put it in the chat. I can tell right now because there's nothing on my absolute values. We have 1 vote for and. How many other votes for and do we have? Okay, Annalisa says and. Elizabeth says or. Logan says and. Any other votes? Okay, so we're gonna do a little bit of a key off to the side here. I'm gonna go this way. So less than or less than or equal to or less than, remember, is less than is an and I know I spelled it wrong. Okay, greater than or equal to or greater than is a great or. Remember how we talked about you get to use notes during the test? That's a really terrible looking or, isn't it? Write that down right now so you don't get it wrong tomorrow. Okay, so less than or less than or equal to is an and. Greater or greater than or equal to is an or. All right, so please get that written on your paper so that you can look at this and you can get that one right. Okay. When we do an and, so another couple little things to add to those notes. It should look like this for your answer, okay, or this, depending upon, and if I have to graph it, remember it looks like something like this or with the things closed over the top, okay? On the great or, you're going to have x less than some number, and then you write the word or x greater than some number, and it could have the equal to under it as well. When I go to graph something that looks like an or, it's going to point away from each other. I am not going to put the tricky ones on where they don't exist or it's all real solutions or something like that, okay? But make sure your answers are set up correctly, okay? Because just because I put an and on the quiz and I didn't have you graph the and, I had you graph the or on the quiz and the and was just the equation, and I might reverse that on the next version of it. So you're responsible for both. All right, so let's take a look at this one here. So I am at the point where I'm ready to split this. So what do I have to split it into? A positive expression and a, what's the next word? Tell me in the chat. Positive expression and a, got a couple of negative expression, right? The annoying way that Mrs. Ballard does it. Make sure when you do the negative, you put a parentheses out front. All right, we're going to subtract the 1, so I get x less than or equal to 4. Okay, I'm going to distribute this in. So negative x minus 1 less than or equal to 5. I'm going to add 1, which is going to make it 6. And I'm going to divide by the negative. There's a few people who missed this step. So remember, when you divide by a negative, you have to flip the inequality sign. Because this was an and, I know I have to write this. Okay? I know that the smaller number is going to come first and the bigger number is going to come second. I had some craziness. I don't know if it was you guys or not, because I don't remember. But I had some people do this. Do you see how the inequality, in this case, the inequality sign should be pointing the same way, okay? I had a few people try to use interval notation, which I accepted, but we would prefer this in inequality notation, okay? But I guess technically interval is correct, so I didn't mark it wrong. I had a few people do the smaller number first and the bigger number second. But they did their inequality signs the wrong way. I accepted it if it went the other way. If you did this, because even though it was wrong, it was technically wrong, it was backwards in order, but as long as your inequalities were eating the right number, then I was good with that. Okay, so those are a few of the mistakes I saw on that one. All right, I'm going to give you one just like that. I want you to try it on your own. So let's do this one right here. So everybody take, I don't know, 2 minutes. I'm going to be quiet for 2 minutes. I'll let you guys try it for 2 minutes. And then when we're done, don't put it in the chat yet. Let's give everybody 2 minutes to try it. Okay, put your answer in the chat. Tell me what you got. Remember, participating in the chat, right, wrong, or otherwise, lets me know that you're here, you're paying attention, and that you're seeing where we're at with the answer here. And when you're typing this in, you can type it like this, okay? That's what we're going to use in the chat for our typing of this thing. Brian, revise your answer. Look at your answer. You've got a small typo. And how did you get? You got the cool inequality symbols. Yeah, we all want to know how. Do you have an emoji thing? Teach us that magic. Google it. Google it. All right. I'm sure there's an emoji thing or something. Okay. Brian, revise your answer for me. Okay, so now I need an answer from Elizabeth. And Lisa, I like yours. Logan, I like yours. Okay, so I'm gonna, good, Elizabeth. Okay, so I'm gonna do it really quick because I haven't heard from everybody, so we're gonna make sure we did it right. I'm gonna be fast. So we know it's an and. So I could even write this down on my paper like that. So I'm at the beginning, okay, we have it already ready to go. And I know I just have to fill in kind of those blanks. So positive expression and negative expression. So I'm going to add the two. So x less than or equal to 1. Distribute negative x plus 2 less than or equal to 3. Negative x less than or equal to 5. And then divide. What happened? What did I do wrong? I didn't add the 2 very well, did I? And then when I subtract, I should get the 1 over here. Mrs. Ballard is has a rough day too once in a while. Okay, and then we're going to divide by the negative, which flips the inequality sign. So -1, +5. Good job. All right, let's do one last one. Okay, oh, let's talk about graphing that really quick. So I'm not going to do the full graph on, let's go back to this one. I'm going to graph it. So if I was going to graph this one here for that and, I'll squish it in here. Okay, I would have to have the -6 on, the 4 on, closed circles. And then for an and, we would point the arrows towards each other so it would be a solid bar. Okay. On this one, we are supposed to graph the solution, but it could come up for an or that we just have to solve it. So we'll make this problem our last one, and we probably won't have time to try one on our own. Okay. So I'm going to add the 1. I don't do the decide if it's an and or an or until I have the absolute value by itself. So I get an 8. All right, tell me in the chat, is this an and or is this an or? Vote for me, please. Got some votes for ors. Any other votes for ors, or are there any votes for ands? All right, it is in fact a great or, so we know it's an or. All right, so I know I have to have that word in between, and sometimes, again, I will write that down. All right, I have to split it into a positive expression and a negative expression. I should have done this work off to the side. I'm going to subtract the 8, so I get x less than 0. Okay, I'm going to distribute that negative. So we've got -x minus 8 greater than 8. I am going to add the 8. And then I'm going to, which is 16, I'm going to divide by the negative. Okay, what happens when I have to divide by that negative? Tell me in the chat. What happens? What's special? I need to flip the inequality sign. Good. Okay. If I was going to have to type an official answer, I would type that with an or in between it. Okay. For the graphing piece, over the 0 and the 16, should my dots be open or should they be closed? Tell me in the chat what you think. Elizabeth says open. Do we agree with her? Open, Annalisa. All right, so I'm going to go with some open ones over here. So open and open. And I gave you this giant thing because everybody had different numbers. And Logan agrees open too. So it fit everybody's numbers. Remember the secret to graphing is as long as your X is on the left, this makes an arrowhead pointing the correct direction. So I know I got to point this way. I know I've got to point that way. And that's it. Okay? All right, I hope this helps. I will put the video up, so if you want to watch it again, you can. Please practice. The good thing to do is go do your study guide. Or sorry, go do your test corrections, which you should be able to easily do now that we've gone over this. Some of these might have been even some of those problems. And then you need to go back. I posted it in Google Classroom, which assignment is, I might not have done it for first period yet. I did it for sixth period. Which assignment is related to the old quiz. So go find that assignment and try it again, okay? Practice, 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 and let's get 100% on this thing. So if you need to make up something else, you can do that during finals week, all right? Okay, if there's any questions, you can let me know. If not, have a great day. I will see some of you later or in a few minutes, okay?